Do I want to join this right here?
No.
Bet. All right. Marcus, you got our chat in there? Are we live? Oh, are we live? We're good? Oh, sweet. Okay. Hey, rock and roll. Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Coach Jake. Glad to be here with you today. Man, I am excited. We're going to bring some stuff to you here today. It's Freestyle Greco season. Maybe you're at Virginia Beach. If you're a high school kid, college guys, just finished NCAAs, and they're like, you're, changing, shifting gears. But it's definitely freestyle season, and I'm so excited for you. Maybe you're a freestyle guy. Maybe you're not. I was not, but it is by far and away my favorite time of year. Freestyle Greco is incredible, okay? I want to help you guys today. Maybe you're an athlete getting ready for Freestyle Greco season. Maybe you're a veteran and you love it. Maybe you are maybe you're in freestyle season or it's like the first time and you're kind of intimidated by it. You're like, I don't know if I like that yet, or maybe you're not a freestyle guy. Maybe you're a coach, somewhere on the spectrum. You're coaching guys getting ready for Vegas. I mean, the athlete spectrum it's literally everywhere, right? So I'm kind of talking to everybody here. Again, maybe you're just getting into freestyle. Maybe you're really excited about freestyle. Maybe you're in college. You're a guy who's been to Fargo. You've been to Vegas. You're competing. You're wrestling at the NCAA level. Whatever it is, we've got some things for you here today. Coaches on the other side. You could even be a coach or a parent of someone like that, one of those athletes, and you could be anywhere on the spectrum in your freestyle journey. What we've got for you today is going to be incredibly, incredibly helpful. There's so much content out there around Freestyle Greco stuff and how to learn different things. And I'm a bit of a snob. I don't love the way a lot of that stuff's done. Although there's a lot of incredible people doing some teaching, I think there's a better way to do and teach just about everything that we do here in wrestling. There's a more life-giving way to deliver that stuff. And so we want to help you with it here today, okay? We're going to talk about our gut wrench stuff. We're going to talk about gut wrenches, tight waists, and cinching, and how that translates to your folk style, your freestyle, and your Greco, and why that's so important. It's going to be great. Stick around. We're going to have a ton of fun, and maybe even have some time for some questions at the end. We shall see, okay? If you're with us on any of the channels, make sure whatever social you're on, man, give us a share, like, follow, subscribe, all those things. Check it out. We're going to be doing this live for you every single week. We're going to share this thing with you, okay? And then once we're done, we'll put it in our membership area, and we'll talk about all the ways that you can get plugged into that at the end. All right, so first, if you will, I'm going to start with a little demonstration. I need to thank my man MJ here who's running the camera. I got my brother Marcus running the chat back there. So if you're in the chat, if you find yourself in the chat, he's going to be beefing that thing up. Say hello. Let us know where you're coming from. Okay. Let's jump into this illustration. So gut wrenches are like, maybe you know what I'm talking about, maybe you don't. Okay. Before we get into it, I'm going to talk about tools, because wrestlers always like to talk about tools and technique. And so I've got a set of pliers, wrenches, if you will, up here. And I want to kind of express the difference in each one, because if we can understand this illustration, it's going to really help you have some visual for what's going on. Okay. It's going to really help simplify those things. Jesus taught a parable, so we're going to do the same thing today. Okay. I don't know if he ever used a set of pliers while he was teaching, but I imagine that he would have in 2025. Okay. So the first thing here, I've got just a set of needle nose pliers. Okay. If I want to grab something with these pliers, although these need a little WD-40. Wow. Okay. When you grab something, you have like limited connection on whatever thing. So I know I'm like super backed out, but if I have very limited connection on the thing that I'm grabbing, and if I was twisting a screw or something, it'll strip out as I'm twisting around the thing, right? Anybody that's ever done anything, they're like, hey, we need you to take this screw off, or this bolt off. Like if you had these pliers to do it with, you would be like, that's not going to work. Maybe your wife would bring you these, or your child, but dad is like, that's not going to get it done. Okay. So we upgrade tools. The next set of tools that we see here, I've got a set of channel locks. It's a crescent wrench here, and this thing's kind of unique because notice the shape in the middle of it, right? It's a little more shaped like it would hold on. It has a better connection around a bolt, and so it's designed not to slide as much. Where this one has this there's just one simple thing. Notice how this is grooved out in the middle here in a way that allows it to have a better connection around whatever you're grabbing, okay? So that as you're twisting it, it's not going to slide, move, or any of the things, okay? So this is a way better example. Another cool feature of this is how it slides and adjusts to be all different tightness. If I turn it this way, you can literally see the grooves right? So it's like large, and then as you slide it up a little bit here, boom, it can lock smaller and smaller and smaller until it gets to the smallest size, right? So these are called channel locks. Okay, so this is a way better version of this tool. This requires lots of, although it's got a better connection in this feature here, it requires force. You've got to be squeezing the whole time to keep it locked down and bit down on everything. Okay. The next thing would be is what when we talk about like a socket here. Okay, and so this is this socket. If I just use the socket itself, fits on the end of something. If it's the correct size, then it's connected 360. Right. I'm almost like I need to hold it in real close so you can see on the camera, but it's got this 360 connection all the way around if you get the right size that fits it. Okay, and so then we have when it allows us to have the most force, the most leverage, and a 360 connection around that thing. The only thing that you have to do is make sure that you get the right. If you have if it's too big, you've got to cinch it down, make sure you have the right size for whatever you're trying to hold on to, and it's going to get a nice bite all the way around. Again, 360, and then pull. Okay, this is a crazy cool socket wrench. It actually has this like extension here, boom, and so it'll slide out, and you get even more leverage by the levers being longer, right? So this same, it can be short, and you get pretty good leverage, but as you extend this thing out further and further and further, you've got more leverage. Okay, and so all of these things are going to be kind of parables into what we're talking about with our gut wrench. What I want to talk to you about today, we're going to slow down and walk through this position, because if you talk to someone in the Freestyle Greco community, you know, the way, so we always say the way you do anything is the way you do everything. And this gut wrench, people will tell you, oh, it takes 5 years to develop a good gut wrench. It takes 10 years to develop a good gut wrench. I think you can learn a good gut wrench in the next 30 days. And it's a potent, powerful, powerful, powerful tool. Okay. The way that you gut wrench is the way that you tight waist. Okay. It's a crazy, crazy, crazy thing. We talked to our team yesterday about that. When you look at folk style, freestyle, Greco, they all have grappling, jiu-jitsu. Like it continues on, and you get into like all different arts of striking. But as you look into these things, there's common thread in all of them. There's this overlap in all of them. And so we want to talk about like kind of what are the best parts of each one of them. How does what we're teaching today translate to the different ones? Okay, and there's going to be some absolute gold in this. One of the things that again, we're going to move kind of piece by piece. I want to move it in about 5 parts. And we're going to help you engineer your outstanding pressure, gut wrench, everything else, so that you don't just have to be strong and squeeze. Okay. There's lots of people teaching gut wrenches. You can find all the videos in the world on YouTube. But what doesn't happen real well is when a guy grabs you and squeezes you, can feel that it's tight, but you don't always understand why it's tight. And you don't understand why, you know, there's a whole big debate of why is this tool better than this tool, better than the next tool. If you go to your local hardware store, Home Depot, Lowe's, whatever, you're going to see 1,000 variations of this wrench. One of them is the best, and there's a reason why. Okay, why would I rather carry, you know, any one of these tools or anyone else? We talk all the time about how a craftsman selects his tools, and we're going to help you engineer the best tool today to turn people. Okay, and one more thing that I just feel like I need to kind of add to this is. You good? Uh-oh. Okay. Did you do something?
I was trying to interact with the chat.
Pause. Okay. Sorry. Hey, I'm gonna pause for 30 seconds. I'll give you guys the story of this while we're doing it. So this gut wrench is such a powerful tool. Okay. If I could just prime you one more time on slow down and walk through this position. Wrestlers are notoriously terrible about like wanting to rush through things. It's kind of the way that guys naturally are. We want to like rush through all the things. We're good. We want to rush through all the things. You know, you don't want to slow down and learn how to use this tool. You just want to start messing with it. Okay. But if we always talk about walking through the position one time. And if you've driven the same road to practice or the same road to school thousands of times. Okay. But if you walked that road one time today, you would learn more about that journey than every other time you've driven it combined. Okay. And so just walk through this position one time with me, learn it one time and how to use it so that you can take this tool, this technology with you wherever you go. Okay, that's what we're going to work on today. let's jump in. I'm gonna move through this in a couple ways and move our table here, get out of the way, get my awesome uke. That's what they call it in jiu-jitsu, your uke. I don't know how uke translates to English, but it's a Japanese word. And we got my mainest man Braxton out here today. He was stretching and getting loose, or at least that was what I told him to do. We're going to find out how stretched out and loose he got, because we're going to move right into these gut wrenches. And it's going to be serious. Okay. Word. Okay, so first thing we're going to do, I'm going to talk about this lock right here. So I'm going to stand you up. Okay, so the first thing we need to discuss is lock. There's several locks, okay? A lot of people like this butterfly lock underneath here, okay? I'm not a crazy fan of this. There's some weaknesses in the lock. The big thing is I'm going to get my knuckles rolled up in here a lot of times, and that's a long learning curve. Like, listen, if you're a Greco guy and you're, I listen to long time veteran freestyle Greco dudes, and they're like, you just got to be tough. Like, if you're a freaking cowboy and you got leather hands and leather knuckles in here, maybe you are all right here, okay? But let's just work on, like, why don't we have to go through that process? Why don't we just get a better tool, okay? When I talk about a body lock on this side, if I get this butterfly lock and he's pulling his hips back, my lock starts to unravel. Let's just play slow. If I'm here and he was pulling his hips back, my lock would slowly unravel itself, okay? So what we teach is a samurai lock. We teach stab, thumb down, roll over the top. And now as he tries to pull his hips back, nothing happens. And in fact, I've got a lot of strength here because I can just roll my thumb into his back and it rolls him right back up into me. It's a superpower thing, okay? So I like to show it in that position, but we're going to work on we're going to use our samurai lock underneath. We're going to stab, roll our lock. Now, you're not going to be wearing a watch when you do this. I might take mine off in a minute, but for the sake of, you can really see the angle here as I put my watch into him. Stab him with the knife. Here, I drive the samurai knife into his belly here, and I've got a nice little lock, okay? Other big details on our lock are going to be pinch. We always pinch elbows together, then we pull. The last thing that we do is inflate our arms and squeeze, okay? And so pinch, pull, squeeze is our recipe for that. And we're going to see this everywhere, okay? You can also scale if you got a young buck and they're holding on. You can scale this if they don't have great pinch, pull, squeeze mechanics here. They can go elbow deep, maybe just instead of this hand being thumb in here, they can actually wrap with their fingers. And then this hand's going to reach over the top and lock down on top of your tricep here above the elbow right here. So now I've got a nice this deep arm. So I can have samurai lock. This is my preferred lock. I think it scales infinitely. I think it's the best lock in all of wrestling or grappling. And then, you can slide your lock deeper here, okay? Elbow to elbow. This is great for beginners if you need to scale this thing. Some guys prefer this lock anyways because there's no sliding. It's just really hard to get to this lock, right? Really difficult, where this is going to be so much easier to get to, and it's actually my preferred lock anyways, okay? Let's put you down here, okay? So first thing we're going to do here, let's go quad pod. So I want to talk about my lock here. We're going to go deep arm here. I'm going to stab him with my left hand, and I want my elbow in the crease of his back hip. So we're going to first we're talking about that lock, and we're moving into to our elbow mechanics here. Okay, so I've got this thing's locked nice and tight here, and I'm just kind of hanging on this. I want to really feel how my elbow pulls, and I'm holding on to him instead of having this disconnect in their space. I want, just like that upgraded tool, I don't want it to be like the needle nose pliers. I want it to fit the shape of his body. So my elbow connects to his hip here, and my forearm is laid across his belly. And this, now all of a sudden, it's connected all the way through, okay? Sometimes we talk about like all of the seams, every stitch on your shirt. I want every stitch connected, but I really like to emphasize the point that my elbow is hanging on that back, on the back hip, and it's, as I'm driving, it's lifting here, okay? So we can float one side and then the other. And I like to teach this with a little hang mechanic here. So I'll start to hang, and I'm holding on with just this right hand. And then I'll float to the other side and hang. And I'm moving front. My back knee is active so that nothing's on the ground. And I'm holding on. Look, my partner is not nearly my size, but he's able to hold on to me. Once you get good at that, you can cinch, and then you can float both knees behind and hang. And he's really working hard in his quad pod here. Up, drive, and hang. And I'm learning how to hold, and I'm programming this cinch on the backside. It's a crazy important skill that we start to learn, okay? The next thing we're going to move into is we're going to talk about our back knee here a little bit. Okay, let me proof this a little bit. Everything that you do in wrestling proof. So we talked about the lock proofing here. Different places where this lock's really important. This lock is literally everything. I use a samurai lock on every grip. I use it when I'm working on a choke. In jiu-jitsu, it's everything. Okay, the elbow grip is important. Let's say I have an underhook here. Okay, I don't want him on my wrist. I want him in the crease of my elbow here. Okay. And now I've got a lot of power for like big shucks and stuff. If I'm using my elbow, okay. When I get into double unders, same thing. He's in the creases of my elbow, which allows the big shuck to happen. Okay. I want that on my body lock as well. I'm trying to always choke up and get him into the crease, his ribs and his hips into the creases of my elbows. Here, that's what I'm looking for. Now, look, samurai lock here. It can be on the hand or it can get deeper, deeper, deeper. The back of my hand is still into him. So I like that because it allows me to cinch deeper, 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 deeper and get to my lock. Everything's in my elbows, okay? The next thing we're going to work on here is our back knee. Talk about our knee pressure. So just kind of go referee's position a little bit here. I like to, when we're teaching crab in half, we'll go toes inside, knees outside, and we use our knees. And I talk about using our knees as a steering wheel. This is probably the first place that I started learning about knee pressure here, okay? Because you're in here and I can steer you with my knee as I lean right side, left side. I start to have knee pressure. Okay. The next big place we find knee pressure turn left is referee's position. When I'm jamming, I don't want my knee floating above his hip. I want it under his tailbone. This is the big deal here. Okay. So as I drive in, my knee is under the tailbone. And here, if he wants to drive his hips back, he can't. He's stuck on this stick. My shin looks like an extension of his spine going into the mat, and this puts weight on his hands. If I'm not using my hands to do anything, I'm using my back knee to hold his hips up, and then my front knee starts to slide into space here. Okay, if I demo it on the other side, so you can see the lead leg, back knee is in his tailbone here. Okay, his tail space, and as I turn this knee in, it starts to block and seal off the front side. Okay. If I rock up and you look at my toes, I'm sort of pigeon-toed, and I've got this nice vicing mechanic happening with my knees, right? My thighs start to look like those needle nose pliers. I'm driving the vice together, and it's perfectly fitting in his hips. Notice back heel is high. If I rotate my knee to the mat, my back knee really wants to start sliding. I have to work really hard to keep it buried in the hips. Turn you this way one more time. So now, here, like if as my toe and my heel hit the mat, as my heel hits the mat, my knee wants to float. I'm going to try to be here, which keeps it anchored in. I'm step tight. If I'm back leg long, I'm offering all kinds of space here, and I really have no pressure, okay? And so as we're starting to put this together, I'm going to imagine kind of like a star. Like I'm going to bring this piece in tight. Let's add the next piece and make it tight. The next piece add tight, and we're talking about our pieces. It's our chest pieces. I want to get my elbow right. I want to get my lock right. Then we're going to get our back knee right here, okay? Then we're going to start to get our front knee correct as well. So I'm going to put you back facing forward. The next drill I like to really use here to start priming and feeling this is we're going to go. He's going to open his knees up just a shade and walk his hands forward. So he's kind of tabletop, but he's got a wide base too, okay? Tabletop meaning he's got a flat back as opposed to referee's position where he would be looking like this. I want him to be tabletopped with a wide base, okay? Now, as I do this, I'm going to go tight waist here, okay? And I'm going to hang through. I'm not using my front hand yet. I can use my shoulder, but I'm not using my front hand. I'm really focused on my knees. Back knee is driving into him here. And my back elbow is lifting until I'm trying to get his knee and his back foot to come up off the mat, okay? Now, when you start doing this, naturally, you're going to want to sag. I'm going to turn you the other way so they can kind of see the space at about this angle. When I start going, you're going to notice this disconnect. See this space here in my hips? This starts to be a real problem here, okay? How I'm disconnected. And then look at the angle of my back leg, how it's long. It's an obtuse angle, okay? I want this to be height here. This is very different. Now my hips are stuck to his hips in here. There's no space inside my hips, okay? I don't want there to be any daylight inside of here, okay? And so I'm working on that to both sides. Back knee. Notice how my back knee goes first as I start to move to this. If my knee and my elbow and my left knee, left elbow, and my right knee are all pushing together, there starts to be a really tight grip in here on his hips. This is what I'm looking for, okay? Now, as I float, watch, backside, back knee, front knee. Back knee, front knee here, okay? Now, I'm still a little off right here as I'm feeling this, okay? The next big detail that I want to do is I'm going to start to work on my top shoulder. So I'm always looking away from my gut wrench. Always. There are a few exceptions where you can look into your gut, but in general, I want to look away. By looking away, I'm going to take, instead of having my chest, most guys are gutting and their chest is on top of the back. Sometimes I even see the shoulder. Walk your hips forward a little bit. Hands too. Yep. I see everything slide off to the side. Your lock sliding is a non-negotiable. I don't want my lock sliding ever. And again, I'm demoing all this from up so you can see the space underneath. It's easy to kind of view what we got going on. As I start driving into this here, a lot of guys have their chest on top of this. Okay, and what I want to do, I'm going to stand you up here so we can see a good angle. So he's got his scapula right here, okay? I want my shoulder right underneath that. I want the head of my shoulder to be, so as his, there's a shoulder blade right there, boom. I want the head of my shoulder underneath it. And then we're going to be pinning this thing into the mat here. So when my shoulder is pinning here and my elbow's lifting the back hip, that's a great mechanic for turning him, right? I'm getting double leverage here on him, okay? Driving here, lifting here, driving back leg, and then my front knee is going to get rid of this post, which is where we're headed next, okay? Let's see here, boom. The shoulder, a couple more proof points here for the shoulder here, okay? The understanding where your shoulder is a crazy important detail, right? If I'm in, well, let's say most obvious, high crotch, shoulder's got to be on assignment. If my shoulder slips, it's easy for this guy to cut the corner and beat me, right? If I'm on a single leg, shoulder in the pocket. This is where the shoulder's got to be, okay? It's got to be in the pocket. If the shoulder slips here, this offers all kinds of crazy, easy whizzer stuff that's going to make my life miserable. If I'm in over-unders, I need my shoulder. My shoulder's way too high. I've got to get it lower down in the sternum. Boom, here. As I get my shoulder where I need it to be, new things become possible, okay? I can even shuck him with my shoulder and then snap. There's some really fun stuff you can do. Okay, so I'm going to let's go put you back in parterre, looking forward. Let's go like kind of a high parterre. Yeah, here. So he's kind of wide. This looks a little more like parterre. Here, a little more. So it's, you know, tabletopped, but then a little lower we would call like a high parterre. So he's still floating off the ground. I'm going to go back arm deep. Back arm deep here, okay? I'm still not using my hands. Right shoulder in his back, left knee in the butt here, okay? And he's got, I'm going to walk you back just a little bit so you have a little more base on your knee. Let's turn you this way. So I've got good camera angle. I like this angle a lot. Boom. Tight waist. Boom. Back knee in the butt. Front knee starts to shovel, and my right shoulder is on top of this thing. As your shoulder slides high, you're going to get way out in front of your lock. I want to start with my shoulder like over my lock here, okay? Here, notice where my hand is. Stab. Here, when I go ahead to put the lock together, I just lock over the inside of that thing. There's my shoulder. If I'm on the mat here, there's a lot of wasted pressure here. So let's go no lock. Boom here. Okay, how's the pressure right now? Scale of 1 to 10. 6. Okay. If I fix my shoulder on top of him, how's the pressure now? 8. But my knee is still on the mat. So when I pick my knee up, shoulder in, and I'm hanging not locking yet, how's the pressure now? How's the pressure? 10. Okay, solid. Now notice, pinch, pull, squeeze. We're talking about technique beats power, timing beats speed. John Kavanaugh is the first man I ever heard say that. Technique beats power, timing beats speed. The technique, no amount of grabbing that bolt and trying to take it off with your hand is going to get it done, right? Sometimes maybe opening the pickle jar in the kitchen is hard. right? Maybe mom's got one of those little things that goes on it and it's kind of long and you get leverage and pop it off. All right. If not, you could get her one for $5 on Amazon. She'll love you forever. Maybe she'll love you forever anyways. Okay. I want to grab this thing, get a good handle. Like I don't want to be just squeeze, trying to take it off. Let's use the tools and the technique to make you strong here. Okay. The reason this is so powerful, a gut wrench, if you learn a leg lace, okay, a leg lace is incredible. You hit a leg lace and score. We talked about this last night. I hit a leg lace. I'm going to stand you up. Just show this real quick. Boom, I hit a leg lace. Oh, boom, low single. I dump them down to the mat, take down, and then right away in the moment, and I roll them all the way across the mat, alligator style, score 10 points. Like incredibly valuable tool, okay? Because in freestyle and Greco, it's like make it, take it, right? It's make it, take it. You score, you get to a great position, you just get to keep scoring with it. In folk style, you turn a guy with a move, and you have to let go of that move and get a new move to score again. In freestyle, you get the dominant position, you just keep on scoring with the same thing. Well, the leg lace is so powerful, but it's hard to get to, right? Whether off your takedown, usually that's probably the easiest place to get to it, and that's not that easy. Doing it from parterre is really hard, but having to get under his butt and pin his hips, and it's just a long process to get to it. If you get it, it's great. It's really hard to defend, and it's great for scoring, but it's so hard to get to. And so it works really well in freestyle, but you can't use it at all in Greco. Cannot touch the legs at all in Greco, so it's useless in Greco, and it's really useless in folk style. I score 0 points for all that rolling around. You get the takedown, but you don't get any of the following turns, okay? If you learn to gut wrench, correctly, you can do it to everybody in freestyle. You can use it in Greco, and you can do the same thing in folk style. And the only difference is instead of being here, I just grab his elbow. Like it's this very simple transition of hands locked, hands unlocked that scores, okay? So this gut wrench is going to serve you forever really, really, really well, okay? Massive deal. And so, but it doesn't take 5 years to learn how to gut. You can learn it, and you can be very, very good at it in the next 30 days, and you can tech fall the guy that beat you at the state tournament. All right, I'm guaranteeing you this can happen. Now, back to it one more time. Here, I'm in this position. I really want to, if I can impress anything on you, I want you to spend some time leaning into this and develop your gut wrench. Develop it, okay? I'm hoping that we can put the cookies on the bottom shelf here and help you understand this in a way that makes more sense. Again, if you'll walk this journey with us today, walk through it one time, learn at a deeper level. The word talks about, in the Bible, it talks about moving on from your childlike understanding and to a more mature understanding. Okay, and so that's what we're looking for. We're looking for a more mature understanding. We need to study this position and develop it, a more mature understanding. Don't just grab and squeeze. Yeah, that's not it. Okay, tight waist, boom. Here, shoulder in. Shoulder in. I'm going to go ahead and bring my lock into it. Shoulder on top, back knee tight. Here, knee here. If his knees are really wide, the last thing here that we're going to start doing when I get this knee in is I'm going to start riding this thing with my shoulder. Getting rid of his post. Notice how quickly he came over. Boom, wide base. Boom, I'm gonna get to my lock here. Back knee tight. Here, everything's snug. Now this toe that's on the mat, it can drive here, and I point my knee. Or I can take it and literally, I'm gonna sit here. I can go push with my knee, push his post underneath, okay? Lay flat. If I'm trying to gut wrench him, he's gonna be defending right. And he's got this big post up here. This post is what's annoying. I need to get rid of this post, okay? So if I can take, if I can take my knee and shove his knee out of the way, now gut wrenching him becomes very easy. There's no post over here. If he would lay here on bottom with his knees together and no post, gutting him that direction is so easy. It's this post here that causes problems. He walks his hands in. This is what causes problems, right? Beautiful. I'm just checking here. We got our chat. Everything looks good up there? Yeah. I see some people bumping in the thing here. Hey, hopefully this is helping you. Hopefully this is helping you. I can't talk. Okay, so we jump on top. He's flat in parterre. We're going to come over the shoulder. Here, I'm going to lift and carry his head from 12 o'clock over here to 9 o'clock. Okay, elbow tight, hand tight. Lift and carry. Here's my deep grip. Find the tie race for just a second. Slide back inside. I can hold him off with my forearm. I can hold him off with my hand. Really, I just need to get back to this lock. This is the main thing. Get back to this lock. and then get your shoulder underneath him. So I lifted him and carried him. I like to slide back, and I want to get my shoulder. So if he's trying to look back into me, my shoulder is holding him out of position, right? I see a lot of guys who, and this is pretty solid, is having my forearm posted here, but like this isn't, ultimately I've got to use my right hand at some point, okay? So my forearm is helping me, but my shoulder's doing nothing. My forearm's got another assignment in a minute. So I want to lay my shoulder in here under his back and then swing my grip back down. There's my samurai lock. My right shoulder is holding him off. He's trying to look back into me, and I'm making it annoying already. Here, okay? Back foot steps high, and as I start to dribble my bottom knee underneath, boom, there he is. I start driving. As my shoulder hits the mat here, okay? Look at my back leg. It's long. Notice how this back leg is long. It's not helping me anymore. So I've got to re-step tight, okay? Now, if you start shoveling your bottom knee, when I say shovel, I'm just like pull them up in like your tilt basket, right? Here, see how we've got our tilt? If I had the other arm, boom, here's your tilt, right? Except I've got hands locked. The only difference here really is I want to make sure that I maintain a good chest connection. Okay, so if you could imagine hitting this big tilt position, we'll base you back up. Base up. Let's say we're folk style. I have inside wrist. Most of this you already know how to do, right? Rock in, drive into him, boom, here, and you hold him. But in folk style, I would get very chest disconnected here because this is where a lot of my tilting power comes from. And there's a couple different mechanics depending on the tilt, the exact tilt that you want. But I would disconnect from his chest. Okay. If I'm in freestyle and I'm gut wrenching and I disconnect like this, as I try to take him through, he's probably going to roll one way. It gets really squirrely here as we roll out. Okay. What I want to make sure that I maintain is a great connection all the way through. So as we're doing this, boom, here, lift and carry, deep tight race, hand behind, shoulder on assignment, back foot steps high. As I say, shoveling, boom, my shoulder hits, everything's tight, I step out, bottom knee lifts. This feels like tilt position, only my chest is still connected to him. I'm trying to stay really tight to him here. Okay, now as I step out that back foot, boom, when this back leg hits, it steps on the launch pad here, okay? I'm going to pop my hips up into a high bridge here, and this is just simply like the back bridge that you do at the start of every practice, okay? Bridge up, head, and I'm going to reconnect back through on top. Now, this is really hard to do slow. Even harder on my man MJ to get the angle that he wants. Shout out to our guy. Okay, so as I work this together, get rid of my watch too, so just make it even easier on you guys. Boom. We'll lift and carry. Boom. Shoulder in. Here, like I need to set back, get my shoulder set under his shoulder blade. Step up and drop. And return back through on top. I'm reloading to the same thing. Here, okay? Now, if you want to get really sneaky, let's say somehow, like in doing this, my lock started to slide, start looking into me right hard. My lock started to slide. I could slip my lock to the other way. And now I would hop sides just like that transition that we did earlier in our drills. Jump, back knee, front knee, shovel. Look. He's going to be trying to switch his hips back into me, but I'm already up, step out, turn through, okay? If I can demo this solo, kind of looks like this. Boom. I'm in, I've got my, so lift, carry, I get to my lock, drive in, step, shovel, drive, knee, I'm sorry, shoulder is into him, step. If I need to, keep running your feet, coil. Don't be long. Stay coiled until my knees start to lift and step out. I'm trying to keep my knees pinched so they're tight and come to this leg. If you step out, this can still work, but I want to get rid of this space here that you see. I don't really want this as I'm driving tight. Boom, as I pop my hips, I go from my shoulder. I don't want to go from one shoulder to the other shoulder. I go from my shoulder to the top of my head. And then I return back to everything tight, knees and elbows tight on top. One more time, let's come back to it. Tight, drive, step, shoulder, everything's coiled. Boom, as I step out, knees turn under, pop to the top of my head, right? Ideally, your elbows would be tight, but realistically, they're gonna pop and help carry that guy over the top, back up on top. Knees and elbows come together, okay? This is a big deal. Let me show one more time. Boom. So for two things that I think are also worth talking about is if you're right-handed, you're going to really like this right hand around. It's going to feel really good for a lot of reasons because you're used to riding right arm with a tight waist, okay? But you're not going to feel great with your left shoulder on point, okay? So there's some strengths to this. The right arm around is going to really feel confident and feel good. You're going to have a good groove sanded there from all your reps with your right hand around the waist. When I go left arm around and I go to the right side, my left arm doesn't feel as strong, but my right hand anchoring this grip is going to feel good. And my right shoulder is going to have some good sensitivity. I'm going to have more awareness and more reps using my right shoulder because it's your dominant shoulder. And this is a principle that we use all the time. This thing's going to help you. It's a nice tool that you've developed here, okay? You've got good familiarity with this tool and the technique, the awareness, the nuance of using this thing. And so this is the reason that you can gut both ways, okay? It's a very ambidextrous technique. And I think it's very important for you to develop both of them. When I watch guys, I'm talking about guys that are wrestling in the NCAA finals. When we wrestle against them in Vegas, okay, it's very obvious that they have a good gut wrench one way and a C- gut the other direction. So if you have good defense to one side, you can have C- defense the other and still defend the guy. It's important for your gut wrench. You want to be able to develop this to both sides, okay? I'll be honest, at the club level, no one does a better job with their gut wrenches in America than MWC in Nebraska. Zach Dominguez, who coaches Greco at the senior level, is their developmental coach there, and they do a great job. It's a lot of fun competing against them in the P&L. I say it's fun. Oftentimes it's not because you're winning. You're being an epic match. You're beating a guy that they've got that's nationally ranked, and then they get here in parterre. So maybe Braxton's beating me, 4-1, and all of a sudden we get in a parterre situation. I get on top, and then I gut him 7 times and win the match by tech fall. And so what was a really competitive match for 3-4 minutes, all of a sudden becomes a tech fall situation because the guy has great parterre work. Okay, so this is the secret sauce. Like you want to win Fargo. You want to be in the Fargo finals, be an All-American. Okay, open a lot of doors of opportunity for you. In high school, Fargo is a great place to do that, and you can do it by having incredible parterre work. Okay, if you're in college and you want to open up some NIL doors for you, maybe you had the season you wanted, maybe you didn't. You can be in Vegas and you can murder some guys with this parterre work and freestyle or Greco, okay? And all of a sudden you start winning over guys that are NCAA All-Americans, right? They're national qualifiers, and it opens up new doors to you that for your future. It's all because you came in and studied and developed some skills that are very valuable to other people, right? And that, to me, is a parable for all things as it pertains to life. The way you do anything is the way you do everything. When you get good at wrestling, okay, the way you get good at wrestling is the way you get good at whatever you're going to do next in your life, okay? You can wrestle for a really long time. You can coach for a long time, but there's far better ways to make money, right? Provide for family, do all things. But how you do this, the way that you do this, the way you do your gut wrench, the way you study, the way you prepare, the way you improve is a parable for everything else that you're going to do in your life. And we believe there's a better way to do that, to do it in a life-giving way, okay? Before we kind of get into some closing thoughts, I want to share with you a couple more ways that this is really, really valuable. Number one, getting into this thing, okay? 2, so this reverse claw is about the best way to do it because the guy cannot grab your hands in any way, okay? So if I'm knee stepped over the butt, knee in the ribs here, I can lift and carry and usually get to this, okay? If this guy's being a little harder, let's say he's defending hard and I'm not really getting there, I can actually sit through to my left knee. And so my left hip and my left elbow are really tight together, okay? We call this forward side control. Now I can do the same thing. Give me that good resistance, partner. I'm going to just drive up and I run him in a circle with my knee holding him off, okay? Now, I'm not sure if you got Braxton's face, but I promise you it does not feel good, right? Braxton's pretty tough. My knee is still holding him back as I slide my hands inside. So catch this angle here. This might be good to hear angle like on top here. I don't know if what you can see, MJ. But notice how my knee is holding his, like he can't turn back into me here. My knee is there, okay? He can't turn in Peterson or anything because I've got great hip and elbow pressure. And my right hand just slides down this hole to my lock. Now, as I transition, I just slip my shoulder back. I'm ready to go. I've already got his hips turned the other way, and everything looks good here. All right, I might adjust. But that's a big detail. Another way you can get to this lock, if, oh man, here on top here, okay, I can go backhand up the crotch here, and I grab here in the hip pocket like I've got like a big single leg almost here, okay, and all I'll do is lean and pull into my grip, and I'm back up on top. So this is a great entry into this grip, either side. Boom, parterre, shoot my hand through, because there's no real like weight or resistance here. Pull till my hand goes deep, and he can't. There's nothing he can do here if I'm hooking this ankle, right? And as I pull myself back up on top, I've got a great lock, and I'm ready to go the other way. So that's another really great entry. Okay, but I like the reverse claw. Whether I'm just lifting and carrying or if I'm using my knee, those are the best. You can enter through the tail space here, lift in the pocket, and get to that grip. Those are really awesome as well. Rewind back out here. A couple other ways you can do this. Once you get good at this, boom, you start figuring out like other ways. You can just kind of lift and rock, like literally just leaning. Your arms will start to slide in. It's really, especially if he's swiveling a little bit in parterre, like you can just work your hands in and catch your grip, okay? And then as he's trying to look left and look into me here, you can start cupping over this thing, knee behind, and now I'm running up and over into trap arm guts here, right? Now, on my lock underneath, I start to funnel hands and catch cross wrists into our X lock. It starts to get into some really advanced stuff really, really quickly, all of which is not the topic for today, but it is absolute gold, okay? This gut wrench is a game changer position. And working to trap arm guts, we would call this our gut, like a universal gut. You can work the trap arms, okay? If I'm working here into this gut, one other thing that's really great, the way that I went hand through the pocket and I rock, notice this kind of hook I have on his leg. I'm pulling the ankle tight as I slide into this grip, like this type positioning here. See what I've got? I want to demonstrate a variation that we're going to see here. Turn left, head to the back wall. Yep. Boom. So come to me just a little bit more. Yeah, bet. Okay. So when I work to my gut, boom, here I get to this gut. Okay. I can use this. I stepped high with my back leg. I can use this knee to shovel post, and that's going to work beautifully here, right? Special emphasis on this leg. What I'm doing with my right knee compared to his right knee. This is massive here as I put this together. Okay, if he continues to look right into with my back elbow here, okay, and my left elbow doesn't miss the hip. I can also, instead of using my knee to block his leg, okay, I can do what's called a deep gut. And the only real difference in this position is, notice how he's gotten his shoulder up. My shoulder has slipped. So if my shoulder was on top of his shoulder, I'd be holding him down, right? But as he defended hard, my shoulder slipped, which can happen, okay? And so I'm going to keep my lock cinched. I just, again, more than anything, cannot let my lock slide. I'm going to pull. Watch my feet here, MJ. Catch what happens with my feet on this transition. He's lifted his shoulder, and my shoulder's going to the armpit. All I'm going to do is switch my feet. So my right foot is tight to my butt. My left foot is long. Watch how I switch my feet. I'm going to drive and switch my feet. Keep looking right, partner. Keep looking right. Keep defending. Here, and now I've slid in. I have this top ankle front. Here we go. Again, I was here. My left leg is long. My right heel is tight to my butt. As I drive, as I continue to pull his it turns his hips the other way. As this knee bends and his heel is outside of his butt, see how it turns his hips? It's like a little rudder here. As this turns, as I pull with my foot, it turns his hips the other way. As his hips are facing that way, there's an easy gut wrench here. Pop. Oh, look back on top. Come back center. So we have our universal gut. The secret to this is he has defense, and I'm using my knee to get rid of his knee. So I have the connection all the way through, the upgrade, just like we have this tool. I have the connection all the way around, right? Okay, and then I have this extension, which allows me to make an adjustment, right? There's other cool adjustments on this thing. It turns in some other crazy ways. This is a crazy cool tool. Every little piece of technology in that wrench makes it valuable, okay? It makes an impossible job possible, okay? That's what I'm talking about, an impossible job being made possible. Here, it's all about this thing. Boom. So I'm getting ready to gut. I'm trying to gut, and it feels impossible. I'm sliding. He's got crazy good defense, and he just won't go. This bolt just won't come off. I need some WD-40. It's like, dadgummit, it's just not working. But as my knee slides, I just swap to my deep gut here. And as I continue to drive, pop, boom, and I turned this guy that was impossible to turn, right? That's how David beats Goliath, right? That's how you slay a dragon. You've got to have a new tool, a new technique, okay? Applied the right tool, applied at the right time. And so these are the things. Wrestling is so powerful. It's such a powerful thing for young men to learn, because you realize the power of learning, like a problem that for you haven't even experienced the problem yet, but you're already developing a skill that is going to be a solution for you later, right? And so I hear guys, even the highest level coaches, guys, I've been to the Olympic Training Center. I've been all these places. I've been around some amazing coaches, some guys that are incredible. But there's so many people that I just don't think that what we're calling the best right now is actually the best. I think there's such a better way possible. And so we want to make, again, our whole thing is just making these things available to you. Okay. For me personally, like, I'm sorry, I could go 40 different ways with this. Like, we've got to understand the little nuances. Okay. You can go find 1,000 gut wrench videos on the internet. Okay. I believe this is the best because it's the tools, the technique, the tactics. It's David learning how to use his sling. Okay. It's great for hunting birds, which is what they did in his village. Okay. But when everybody was afraid of Goliath, he walked out there with his tool that he had developed, his skill that he had developed, and it was the perfect solution to slay. Everybody else saw the champion of the other army, Goliath, walking out there, and he walked out there very calmly with his skill, the right time, the right place, and slayed the Goliath, right? He became king of Israel, right? He became King David, right? The story's in the Bible, and I 10 out of 10 recommend it. It's how David slayed Goliath. It's how the small man beats the impossible to beat man. Everyone is beatable. There's no better time to talk about this than Wyatt Hendrickson just beating Gable Stevenson, the Olympic champion, right? Like, it is a thing, okay? And the most respect to both competitors. They're both outstanding in a lot of ways. I'm a fan of both guys. But I want to help equip you and get you to believe in developing these skills so that you can do whatever it is. I see wrestlers all the time. I talk to, 22-year-old college guy at Princeton in Vegas, and he's just like having a complete identity crisis because he's been training his whole life. He grew up in Pennsylvania and trained his whole life, and he went out there and didn't have the performance that he thought he should have, and he just couldn't understand why. And it's an identity crisis, right? Because he doesn't understand the way, he doesn't understand the right tools, the right technique, he doesn't have the right teaching, the right tactics. And so I believe no matter where you live in America, you should have access to those things, and we want you to have it. We try to make that stuff possible for you here, okay? And we can do it for 1/10 of the cost, right? Instead of paying, $250, $225 for a clinic or some seminar, like, you can be picking this stuff up for $20 a month. Like, we have crazy affordable training stuff to give you the best training that on earth. And if you find something better, like, we want to know what it is so that we can learn and be better ourselves. All right. I believe this is the way. And we also want there to be an example for coaches of a life-giving way to teach people. Okay. A life-giving way. It's not just about what you teach them, it's how you teach it to them. Okay. In the Bible, I want to quote this because I want to be able to give you a place to go back and find it. For me, faith and wrestling are connected. They are the same. The things that are written in the good book are true everywhere. Okay, and so our team's committed to helping you in so many ways that we've developed training stuff that would blow your mind. All right, and we're just encouraging people to come figure out what it is. We've been saying this is the way, and this one thing right here blew my mind. I didn't know any of this until I found it maybe 6 months, a year ago. Number one, I already knew this, but in John 14:6, Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. Our faith and wrestling are connected. I started reading all these books on performance and everything that there is to know about performance, your strength conditioning, every component, your strength conditioning, your psychology, your nutrition, okay, your technique, like all of it. I'm folk style, freestyle, Greco, jiu-jitsu. Like I'm a nerd for all those things. Okay. God made me that way. And what I started finding is that all those things that I was reading and finding everywhere else in all these books eventually started to repeat. You see the pattern and they're all around the circle. If I do it this way, maybe you see it, like they're around the outside and they intersect in this place called the Bible. Okay. And so when I started reading the red letters, the things that Jesus wrote in the Bible, or the things that Jesus said, he didn't write them, but people wrote about what Jesus said in the Bible, it all proofs. Okay. It all proofs. And so Jesus says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. It says before Christians were called Christians, it was called the way. The original church, prior to being called Christians, were called followers and believers in the way. And that's referenced in Acts 9:2, the way. And again in Acts 19:9, talking about people who were speaking evil of the way. Again in Acts 24, it's all through the book of Acts, the way, the way, the way. One of the things that jumps off the page to me is in Matthew 7, he says, enter by the narrow gate. Narrow is the way. It says the gate is wide and easy that leads to destruction, and those who enter it are many. The gate is wide and easy. The gate is wide and the way is easy that leads to destruction, and those who enter it are many. But for the gate is narrow and the way is hard. The gate is narrow and the way is hard that leads to life, and those who find it are few. Okay, we want to help you find life and find the way in terms of wrestling. Okay, maybe you're a believer and a follower of Jesus already. If you are, you're going to love what we're doing here. You are our people. Okay, and if you're not, I mean, I would love to mirror those things to you. If nothing else, man, be here and pick up some world-class wrestling training. Okay, so we have it for you, and we want to help you, and we can help you in so many ways. All right. It's been a delight to help you and teach you today. I hope that this changes the way that you approach your gut wrench. I hope that I've never heard anyone else talk about all the different little tools and pieces, your chest pieces, your body parts, and how they relate to making this thing better. And that's why we made this video for you. Okay. Thanks to my team, MJ, Marcus, our Braxton, everybody else that's helping us do this, our team behind the scenes. You guys are incredible. Thank you so much. Okay. We have a couple ways you can jump in with us. If you want more training like this, we have all that available for you at ironcladmethods.com. We have an entire platform where we train and do all those things. Okay. Soon we'll have our members area developed here on YouTube. And then we also have a pro call. So as soon as we finish up today, we're going to be doing this live training for you guys. Every week we do a live clinic just like this, a deep study on wrestling that will help everybody from beginner to NCAA level, okay, Olympic Training Center level of training. We do this for you every single week. We do it live and it's free if you're on live. So make sure you like, subscribe, follow all the things. And then if you want this afterwards, we're immediately, when we turn the camera off, we're going to have our pro call with coaches and athletes. We have a members area where we talk out, unpack this, help them with the things that they need help with. And it's crazy affordable. It's cheaper than your club membership that you probably attend already. Okay. And so we want to help you wherever you're at in the country. Thank you so much for being with us. Find a way. There's probably links in the descriptions and all those things, or will be, for you to plug in when you find this video. And we'll see you somewhere on the trail soon. Okay. We hope we can help you. If not, we'll see you at a tournament. Make sure you come up, grab us, say hello. We'd love to interact with you. Okay. Y'all have a good one. We'll see you on the other side. Later.
In stream, leave our Zoom open.